The new E, the new attitude. Brought to you by Mercedes-Benz. Tan Sri Muhyiddin Yassin has stepped down as Malaysia's 8th Prime Minister as he has lost the majority support in the Dewan Rakyat, subsequently dissolving the PN cabinet. This comes after 15 UMNO MPs withdrew their support for PN, and his proposal for cross-party cooperation was rejected by opposition parties, rendering a proposed confidence vote unnecessary. He had been in office for 17 months. In a televised broadcast, Muhyiddin said he could have taken the easy way out at the expense of his principles to remain as the Prime Minister. However, he said he chose otherwise, vowing to never conspire with kleptocratic groups, interfere with the independence of the judiciary system, and turn his back on the federal constitution simply to stay in power. Following his resignation, the Yang di-Pertuan Agong appointed Muhyiddin as the caretaker Prime Minister until a new Prime Minister is elected. According to a statement from Istana Negara, this is in line with the federal constitution, which underlines that the king must appoint a member of parliament, which, in his view, has the majority support of lawmakers as the country's new Prime Minister. The statement added that there will be no polls for now, citing the threat posed by the COVID-19 pandemic. Fitch Solutions has revised Malaysia's 2021 gross domestic product or GDP growth to 0% from its earlier estimate of 4.9%. This comes as the second quarter GDP growth numbers missed its expectation, expanding by 16.1% year-on-year but contracting 2% quarter-on-quarter. In a commentary today, the research outfit noted that the daily COVID-19 cases in the country have not come down despite the nationwide lockdown. And despite the accelerating vaccine rollouts, Fitch Solutions does not think Malaysia will achieve herd immunity before the end of 2021, thereby ruling out a potential economic surge in the later part of the year. It said all segments of the economy from an expenditure perspective, except government consumption, are likely to remain stagnant or even contract slightly from 2020 levels. It noted further downside risks to its forecast, given the high level of political risk since the beginning of the second half of the year and the risk that the outbreak could still worsen over the coming months, further affecting the economy's performance. It is taking the view that the nationwide lockdown will likely last for the remainder of the year, while localized lockdowns could potentially drag on into 2022. Daily COVID-19 infections came in at 19,740 today, with Selangor still topping the list at 5,706. Cumulatively, Malaysia has detected 1.425 million infections to date, with 249,277 active cases. There are 274 new deaths, taking the toll to 12,784. The Employees Provident Fund, or EPF, appears to have stepped up its Genting Plantations share borrowing to raise its stake in the company to about 14% via Bursa's Securities Borrowing and Lending, or SBL facility. This as Genting Plantations' share price fell to its lowest in more than 9 years. The EPF is the group's second largest shareholder. On August 6th, it had raised its stake in Genting Plantations from 11.13% in January this year to 13.94%, comprising 125.08 million shares after the EPF borrowed 100 Genting Plantations shares via Bursa's SBL facility. Prior to the August 6th transaction, the EPF had borrowed 83,800 shares on August 5th and 800 shares on August 2nd, during which its stake stood at 13.93%. This is according to Genting Plantations filings, which did not specify from whom the EPF borrowed the shares and what it plans to do with them. At the time of reporting, the EPF has not responded to the edgemarkets.com's queries on the transactions. At 5 p.m. today, Genting Plantation's share price closed unchanged at RM6.55, valuing it at 5.88 billion ringgit. At RM6.55, its share price is at its lowest in more than 9 years since September 30th, 2011, when the stock ended trading at 7 ringgit. FGV Holdings says it will look at jointly investing in an integrated dairy farm business in Perlis with Velcro and Qatar-based Balatna Food Industries. In a bourse filing, FGV said FGV Integrated Farming entered into a memorandum of collaboration with the two parties to carry out a comprehensive feasibility and technical study on an opportunity to potentially co-invest in the project in Chupeng. This is in line with its long-term plan to position FGV Chupeng Agro Valley as one of the leading Agro Valley hubs in Malaysia. The conglomerate said the collaboration initially aims to double the current production of Malaysian fresh milk within 2 years and create a 10,000 milking cow farm with an annual production of 100 million litres. Among others, it also plans to use the agricultural land to produce largely the required animal feed for the dairy farm. In the second phase, the farm will be used as a hub that supports small rural farms in developing small cattle fattening farms, animal feed farms by 2024. FGV edged up 0.76% to RM1.32, valuing it at 4.82 billion ringgit. The Singapore government has awarded funding to a consortium that includes YINSON Holdings to develop and commercialize a fully electric cargo vessel with interoperable swappable battery infrastructure solutions for the ports of Singapore. YINSON said the Goal Zero Consortium is one of 3 consortiums that have received grants from the Maritime and Port Authority of Singapore and Singapore Maritime Institute. The 3 consortiums will embark on the research, design, building and operations of fully electric harbour craft over the next 5 years. The electrification pilot projects will demonstrate commercial and technical viability of specific use cases for such craft. Goal Zero is led by Fitch Solutions International, which will develop the vessel's design and system integration. Meanwhile, YINSON's unit, YINSON Green Technologies, will spearhead the consortium's overall program management and commercialization. According to YINSON Executive VP for New Ventures and Technology, Eric Barclay, Goal Zero aims to develop a new ecosystem and business model that are significantly more sustainable for the industry, while simultaneously being more commercially attractive for vessel owners and operators. YINSON closed up 0.45% at RM4.49, valuing the offshore energy vessel operator at 4.94 billion ringgit. This program was brought to you by Mercedes-Benz.